Welcome to part two of plants versus animals. Now, people love to argue that either we were designed to only eat plants or that we were designed to only eat animals. Let's clear up the confusion and continue looking at the design of our digestive tract. In this video, we'll start with the stomach. For brain, mouth, and esophagus, see video 1 in this series. All right, on to the stomach, pancreas, and small intestine. Human stomach acid has a pH of about 1.5 to 3.0. That's powerful enough to kill pathogens and start breaking down the proteins found in meat. That's mainly carnivore chemistry. For example, a lion would have a stomach pH of around 1 to 2. On the other hand, a cow, goat, or sheep stomach acid sits at a pH of around 6 to 8, which is not great for breaking down animal protein. Now, nature is nuanced. Not every herbivore has the same stomach acid pH range. Some herbivores actually have quite strong stomach acid. Rabbits, for example, can have surprisingly acidic stomachs, but there's a key difference in their digestive strategy. One thing they do that we don't do is eat their own poop. It's called coprophagy, and it's a survival adaptation that allows them to redigest plant fibers and extract nutrients their bodies couldn't access the first time around. Humans, we do not need to do that. So this information should immediately tell us something important. Most herbivores lack the level of stomach acidity seen in humans. And when an herbivore does exhibit strong stomach acid, its digestive system is built on a very different blueprint than the human gut. The other thing we want to think about is the human stomach is not a passive food storage pouch. It is a highly specialized biochemical reactor, and when we look inside it, we will find several cell types in the stomach lining going to work. First, we have the surface mucus cells, and these cells produce a thick protective mucus layer shielding the stomach wall from being digested by its own very strong acid. Next, we have parietal cells. These cells are what release the acid, called hydrochloric acid, or HCl for short. This acid is what denatures the proteins, meaning it unfolds them so enzymes can break them down. Parietal cells also release something called intrinsic factor, which is absolutely required for vitamin B12 absorption. The vast majority of B12 in our diet comes from animal sources, and if we don't have intrinsic factor, then we won't be able to access the B12 in our diet. And without B12, our brain, nerve, and red blood cells all suffer. And then we have chief cells. These release something called pepsinogen, an inactive enzyme. And when pepsinogen meets hydrochloric acid, it becomes active and it becomes what we call pepsin. And this is an enzyme specifically designed to break down protein. We know that a healthy human stomach is very good at killing pathogens and breaking down dense animal tissue. On the other hand, cow, deer, and other herbivores, they rely on microbial fermentation to break down cellulose. That's a process that often requires specialized stomach compartments, enormous microbial populations, and a long fermentation time. Their stomachs are designed more like a fermentation tank. Or if they're a monogastric herbivore like a horse, they will have an enlarged cecum and a large intestine for hindgut fermentation. We as humans have a relatively small cecum. Now, let's move on to the small intestine. Here the design shifts a bit. Don't let the name fool you. It is not all that. The human small intestine is long, about 20 feet on average, and has a huge surface area. This is due to its inner surface being covered in folds called villi and microvilli, which are tiny finger-like projections that massively increase surface area. This design is for rapid, efficient nutrient absorption, including amino acids and glucose. We also know that as part of the digestive process, the pancreas releases enzymes into the small intestine to help with the breakdown and absorption of nutrients. This includes enzymes like lipase to break down fats found in both plants and animals, proteases to complete the breakdown of proteins found in definitely animals and also plant foods. And we can't forget amylase, which is for the sole breakdown of plant foods. This means we actually find amylase in two parts of the body, the saliva and the pancreas. When we look at the different enzymes, we can see that they are designed to break down both plant and animal food sources. And here's another clue: transit time. Carnivores have shorter digestive tracts. Herbivores have long digestive tracts. We as humans sit somewhere in the middle. We're not designed like lions, but we're definitely also not designed like cows either. Our digestive tract, so the length of the digestive tract, the enzyme profile, and the stomach acidity all point to a similar conclusion. We are biologically omnivorous. And if humans were meant to, say, thrive on plants alone, then we would not need strong stomach acid and pepsin to break down dense proteins, or intrinsic factor to absorb B12 from animal foods. And if humans were meant to thrive on animals alone, we would not need salivary amylase for breaking down carbohydrates before food even reaches the stomach, or a pancreas that produces large amounts of amylase to digest starch even further. We also probably wouldn't need an intestinal lining designed to absorb glucose efficiently. So from the stomach to the small intestine, your body tells a clear story about what it was designed to process. So the real question isn't, should humans eat only plants or animals? The real question is this: how do we heal our digestive tracts back to their original design so that food can once again do what it was always meant to do: nourish and heal the body? Because food truly is the best medicine.